Alright, guys. It is Thursday, October 20th, 2022 at 8:45 p.m. Alright, let's take a look quickly here at dailyverses.net. Verse of the day, it says, "We have come to share in Christ, if indeed we hold our original conviction firmly to the very end." Hebrews 3:14. Alright, let's start with Zero Hedge. We have Elon Musk planning to fire 75% of the Twitter staff. That's quite weird. He just comes in and starts firing everybody. If he changes the way Twitter works, it's not going to be Twitter anymore. Alright, guys. The CDC votes to add COVID-19 vaccines to childhood immunization schedule for kids' schools. Let's see what else we have. Apparently, TikTok parent plan to track specific Americans and physical locations. So apparently there's regular TikTok, and then there's TikTok parent, which is planning to track specific Americans' physical location. It says the plan was for Beijing-based ByteDance team to obtain location data from U.S. users' devices. Not cool. Alright, let's see if there's anything else. Alright, let's go to the next article. It says Russian fighter jet released missile while following UK spy plane. Alright, so apparently a Russian jet released a missile on a UK spy plane, but this came out today, as you see here, 10/20/2022. But this happened a while ago. It says Russian fighter aircraft released a missile while following a British jet last month. The UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace has told military police. Wallace said on Thursday that two Sukhoi Su-27 jets have been shadowing an RAF RC-135 Rivet joint spy plane in an international airspace on September 29th when the incident took place. Wallace told British lawmakers it is not unusual for aircraft to be shadowed, and this day was no different, but one Russian aircraft released a missile in the vicinity of the Rivet joint beyond visual range. So that is quite spooky. Russians shooting missiles at UK planes. Alright, I'll leave you guys a link to this article so you guys can check that out. Alright, so this part right here is a bit off, isn't regular news, but it is news to me because I don't know if you guys have heard of the Mandela effect, but in the Mandela effect, things in the past change, and it's weird. But look at this. Okay, so this right here, this northern part of Africa here, the north western part, it is pretty much new to me. This was not here before, and that is there now. Usually it was straight Africa, and now as you see here, the Mediterranean has gotten shorter, has gotten less space because this hump here in Africa is now there. I found that quite weird. I was like, oh my goodness, Africa's growing. But anyways, I'll make Mandela Effect videos later on. Alright, next. Conservatives scramble to replace Liz Truss as UK leader. Ms. Truss announced her resignation after 6 weeks in office, as virtually all her signature tax cuts were being reversed, a stark reputation of her leadership. Liz Truss resigns after 6 chaotic weeks, igniting a new leadership fight. So now people are going to be fighting for who's going to be the new Prime Minister of England. It says Prime Minister Liz Truss of Britain announced her resignation on Thursday, bringing a swift end to a 6-week stint in office that began with a radical experiment in trickle-down economics and descended into financial and political chaos, as most of those policies were reversed. With her tax cut agenda in tatters, her Conservative Party's lawmakers in revolt, and her government in the hands of people who did not support either of her policies, Ms. Truss, 47, concluded that she could no longer govern. She departs as the shortest-serving Prime Minister in British history. That is so shocking. Today I made a video, a smaller video, talking about how surprised I was that she resigned. But that's what's happening in England right now. Alright, next. Let's take a look at Putin declares martial law in occupied parts of Ukraine. Russia President Vladimir Putin said on Wednesday he was introducing martial law to 4 Russian-occupied regions of Ukraine that Moscow claimed last month as its own territory, but is struggling to defend from Ukrainian advances. So they declared martial law on those 4 regions of Ukraine. Next, power outages in store for millions of Philippines due to budget shortfalls. As hydrocarbon fuel production peak and the cost of coal, oil, and gas increase, many countries that rely on these fuels will have problems powering their energy grid, such as the case in the Philippines, where over 75% of the electricity production is from hydrocarbon fuels. The Philippines National Power Corporation may have to shut down over 270 power stations due to a budget shortfall, which will affect hundreds of thousands of households. The National Power Corporation on Friday warned of outages affecting more than 1 million households, 1.3 million, next year if its budget is not augmented. That is so spooky for the people of the Philippines. Please pray for the people of the Philippines, because it is not easy having power outages. Alright guys, Biden administration to release another 10 to 15 million oil barrels from the nation's emergency stockpile in bid to balance markets or keep the gas prices from climbing. So President Joe Biden will announce an additional release of crude oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve on Wednesday in a range of 10 to 15 million barrels, sources familiar with the plan told CNBC. Alright guys. Next, the water level in the Mississippi River is so low that the Army Corps is building a 1,500-foot wide levee to keep salt water out of the drinking water. As the Mississippi River plunges, the Army Corps is building a 1,500-foot wide levee to keep salt water out of the drinking water. Low water flow near the mouth of the Mississippi River is allowing salt water from the Gulf of Mexico to flow upriver, which is already affecting the drinking water supply. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is building an underwater levee, or sill, just north of the current location of the saltwater wedge to prevent further flow. Alright guys, so that's happening in the Mississippi River. There you see the location, the sill location, the saltwater tow location, and the water stopping all this from flowing up there. So all that lack of water is going to be very hard for the people who are bringing barges or anything across the Mississippi River. It could cause food shortages if it does affect the food. Alright guys, next, Florida County sees spike in deadly infections caused by flesh-eating bacteria after Hurricane Ian. All these people walking in the water of the hurricane after the hurricane have been getting all these deadly infections and flesh-eating bacteria affecting their skin. It says recovery efforts are underway in southwestern Florida as communities face a range of new challenges in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, along with property damage that rendered homes inhabitable and displaced thousands of residents. People across the state are grappling with environmental hazards that could pose serious health threats. In Lee County, where Ian made landfall on September 28th, officials say storm surges and subsequent flooding led to a spike in potentially deadly infections caused by the Vibrio vulnificus, a species of bacteria found in warm, brackish water that typically comes in contact with humans through raw or undercooked seafood. It can also enter the body through cuts and other open wounds and can cause severe skin infections that may be life-threatening, according to U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. Vibrio vulnificus is officially described as flesh-eating bacteria because primary infections of the skin can devolve quickly into necrotizing fasciitis, a rare condition that causes tissue breakdown and at times requires amputation to prevent further spread. The infection itself, whether acquired through foot or direct contact with contaminated water, has the potential to cause severe illness or death, the Lee County Health Department said in a news release posted October 3rd, just after the hurricane. So guys, heads up, don't walk through brackish waters if you are in Florida. Alright, next, an elementary school near a nuclear dump site near St. Louis, Missouri is teeming with radioactivity. It says dangerous radioactive particles are all over the elementary school in suburban St. Louis, according to a recently published analysis by Boston Chemical Data Corp. The testing follows an earlier assessment by the Army Corps of Engineers that has also found elevated levels of radiation near Jana Elementary School in Florissant, Missouri. However, the new report, which included indoor testing and more extensive samples from the school grounds, is even more startling, confirming fears of contamination. So please do not, as it says here, do not play, swim, or fish, or get close to the school. Who knows if the previous students have been affected by possible cancers from the radiation. It says here, in this next story, more than 600 people killed in Nigeria's worst flooding in a decade. As you see here, flooding. It says the death toll, the worst flooding in Nigeria has seen in a decade, has passed 600 people. The country's humanitarian affairs ministry tweeted on Sunday. According to the ministry, more than 2 million people have been affected by flooding that has spread across parts of the country in the south after a particularly wet, rainy season. More than 200,000 homes have been completely or partially damaged, the ministry added. So please pray for Nigeria's families who are dealing with all this loss. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hit like and subscribe for more news, and God bless you guys.